I'm going to show you something that a lot of homeowners don't know about when they're buying a house. So take a look at this. When you see this property here, this is a property that we just closed on this week. And this is the house that my clients bought. Now, if I scroll down here, when you're looking at the description, the listing agent put in here, the home is being sold as is. Not once, but actually twice. There it is again. Now, what's really interesting is a lot of listing agents and sellers will say the home is being sold as is. But the thing is, the contract itself that you make an offer with, by default, actually says that. So if you look here, I'm showing this to you right now. This is the contract where it says, condition of property on closing, unless otherwise agreed, the property shall be delivered as is in its present physical condition as of the date of acceptance. So when you make an offer on a property, you're already buying it as is. Now, that doesn't mean you can't ask for repairs. In fact, with this specific transaction, I'm not going to mention the listing agent's name out of respect, but they were adamant that the seller's not making any repairs whatsoever in any way, shape, or form. No repairs are going to be made. No credits are going to be made. There won't be a discount on the price of the home. In fact, they actually wrote it into the counteroffer, and I'll show you that right now. So if you take a look here, this is the counteroffer. I've actually blocked out the buyer and seller's name, but it says home is sold as is with no warranties expressed or implied. The buyer has a right to home inspection, but the seller will not fix, repair, or credit the buyer with any concessions. So my clients, obviously, they had their inspections done, and then we asked for a credit because after the inspections were done, it was determined that the property actually had termite damage as well as rodents as well, which is totally normal. In fact, I think over half the properties in California have termites, and the rodent inspector said that out of the properties that he inspects, like 80% of them have it. So it's totally normal. So we asked for a credit to cover the cost. And the listing agent became emotional and said that he was not going to do it at all. In fact, he threatened to cancel, which he can't do because it's not his job, or he doesn't have the authority to cancel, only the seller does. But the seller can only cancel after delivering a notice to perform and then waiting 2 days for the buyer to perform. In this case, the buyer would have had to remove all their inspection contingencies. So the notice to perform was never sent, and neither was the cancellation. So the seller cannot cancel unilaterally unless they've already sent a notice to perform. So to make a long story short, I'm going to show you proof. We actually got a credit, and so you know that I'm being truthful, it says right here that there was a $5,000 seller credit to the buyer. In fact, the house was actually originally listed for $1,200,000, and then they lowered the price to $1,140,000, and my clients ended up buying it for this price. And what's really interesting is the appraisal value came in about $20,000 higher than the purchase price. And that's a conservative amount because the appraiser, when they go out there, their job is to be conservative because they're actually being hired by the bank to make sure that they're not over lending on a house that isn't worth the money. So that's a conservative amount. So overall, my clients did a good job. They got a good deal on the property, and they got a credit, even though there was an issue with the seller's agent being a little upset that we asked for the credit. But it's their job to let the client know that their client, the listing agent's job is to let the seller know that they're asking for repairs. Then the seller can, at that point, determine if they're going to agree to it or turn it down or issue a partial credit for what was asked. So I just wanted to share that with you because a lot of homeowners don't know that, and they get intimidated or bullied into buying a house when they are told that they can't ask for a credit or any repairs, but in fact they can. In fact, the contract itself says that they're buying the property as is, but they do have the right to ask for a credit or request any repairs to be made.